Welcome, welcome. My name is Dr. Angelika Christie, and I am your host of the show, Your Radiant Life After 45, Skills for Healthy, Happy, and Prosperous Women. I believe in a world where women are cherished and thrive because the world needs your light. And I help you discover and live your unique and beautiful gift confidently and with pride. So you know who I am by now. Otherwise, just read my bio. I don't want to lose any precious time because what I want to share with you today is really, really important. So let's begin. But my apology a little bit. I am a Rotarian, and sometimes on a Saturday, I don't make it back in time to change. So you have to bear with me, but I don't think it's too bad. Anyway, today, I want to discuss a serious subject, and I studied and researched it over the last few weeks. And that's, you know, by the title, what the episode is all about. I always knew that alcohol negatively affects your brain. It is a stimulant and a sedative that affects the brain in a profound and actually dangerous way. And since we just came through the holidays, during holidays, the consumption of alcohol goes up everywhere. And since alcohol is addictive, most of who increase their alcohol consumption during the holidays have a harder time to let go of it or break that habit again afterwards. So here is the fact. Your brain always craves sugar. And alcohol is sugar, but it's so much more dangerous than just pure, natural table sugar. Sugar is the easiest and fastest way to deliver energy in your body and also to your brain. Alcohol, which is a toxic, passes the brain barrier without any problem, and your brain grabs sugar super fast. And my observation during the holidays stimulated my interest to find out more about the effects of alcohol on long-term health issues, and I was pretty shocked. My awareness was already triggered when I visited my sister, who lives in a different country. I visited with her in October, at the end of September, beginning of October. And I was horrified to learn about her severe memory loss and discovered that she actually was diagnosed with dementia. How could that be? No dementia that I am aware of has been recorded in my family's history or ancestry. So this was 3 months ago. And my research regarding what is responsible for dementia and Alzheimer's covered many areas of rather challenging medical jargon that I've actually worked through. And of course, I don't want to repeat it that way with you here. But there is still so much that is unknown, even though progress is happening. But today I want to speak about one aspect of my research that focuses on what alcohol does to the brain and also how it affects some other parts of the body. Because it goes through the mouth, through your intestines, small intestines, your gut, your liver, and then into your brain. So there is a pathway. A lot of what I'm sharing with you today, I actually learned from Andrew Huberman. And I watched and I studied many hours of his intensive studies that are all scientifically supported. I believe you must know what I'm about to share with you, even if you don't drink alcohol, but maybe have somebody in your family or amongst your close friends who do drink. And if you drink even casually, like maybe one drink a day, one drink or a glass of wine in the evening with dinner, so what could be wrong with that, right? Even occasionally. And even 2 glasses of drink of wine are still considered casual drinking, right? You must know that what I'm about to share is really important. I needed to know this because even though I am a naturopathic doctor and nutritionist, I had not been made aware of the dangers of even casual alcohol consumption. I mean, and maybe I didn't want to know because I love my glass of wine with dinner. And, a glass of champagne to celebrate something, and maybe the occasional scotch in the afternoon. And, but here it is. What I found out in going deeper into that study, a study of 25,000 middle-aged to older adults showed that regular drinking of only 1 to 2 glasses a day thins the neocortex in your brain and damages your brain. And no matter if you only drink on weekends or have more than 1 drink, but let's say if you only drink in the weekends and make up for that 1 drink, maybe you don't drink from Monday to Friday, but then you start Friday evening, Saturday and Sunday, and it comes up to at least 7 drinks or 14 drinks per week. No matter how you divide the days, your brain cells degenerate. Yes, I know how horrifying this sounds, but this is scientifically proven. You think that something so damaging as alcohol should not be called a recreational drug, but a restricted substance. Yet it is not. And alcoholism is rampant almost everywhere on earth. I mean, I always said that it's incredible how strict, how restrictive cannabis is and how unrestricted alcohol is. But this is another story. I'm not going to go there now. You see, let me just share with you. I come from an old aristocratic family in Germany, and wine was always a natural part of our dinner. Sometimes even a glass of wine or champagne with lunch or brunch on Sundays. And those traditions may also have stemmed from having the oldest vineyard in Germany in my family. The vineyard is actually over 500 years in existence and is still in my family, now directed and run by my nephew. So I grew up with wine, especially white wine, when it came from our vineyard. Grew up with it from an early age. I remember at the age of 14, my siblings and I were allowed to have a glass of wine mixed with water. And I always considered wine beneficial and not harmful to the body. And yet, now, I know that I was wrong. I was also wrong in believing the common opinion that a glass of wine or champagne would not harm an unborn child. While maybe it's not that common in the US. In Germany, at that time of my childbearing time, it was common that it would not harm an unborn child, an embryo, the fetus. So even though I did not know, and even my obstetrician did not warn me, but rather encouraged me to have an occasional glass of wine to relax, I felt that I had permission to drink occasionally while I was pregnant. I'm fortunate that all of my 5 children are healthy in body, mind, and spirit. And yet, maybe their desire for alcohol may have been established by what they received through me while they were growing in my womb. I have a lot of self-forgiveness to do there, because not knowing does not protect you. And it also doesn't make you innocent. No, I now know that, at least as a rule of thumb, if anything is in question and others say it's fine, but you feel intuitively maybe that there is a question about that, And even though the majority says it's okay, stop and don't do it. Research it more. And I'm speaking about alcohol here, even though it probably applies to all other things. I want to share more about how alcohol affects your entire body and the pathways of how it travels through you and the damage it does on that path and where it ends up. You know that alcohol is a disinfectant, yes? It was used as such long before we had chemicals. I mean, for thousands of years, hundreds and thousands of years, alcohol was used as a disinfectant. Before we had chemical disinfectants today and antibiotics and, all the huge amount of chemicals we have. But yes, alcohol kills bacteria, and it kills bacteria without discrimination. That means that when you have an alcoholic drink, it kills the good bacteria in your gut and affects your biome negatively. Your gut flora or biome is not only important for digestion, but also important for many other biological functions, including your brain. You may know that your gut is considered your second brain. Maybe you have heard that somewhere. There is a lot of talk about this today. And it comes with all of the pre and probiotics, and so much has been offered now to try to bring your gut into a healthy state, your gut flora, your gut biome. And that your gut health relates to a healthy immune system. And alcohol consumption can lead to a leaky gut because the bad bacteria escape your gut more easily than your good bacteria. So what else is affected by what else is affected when you drink 2 drinks of alcohol per day? You guessed it maybe, because whenever we think of alcohol, we think of the liver, how the liver can be damaged by heavy alcohol consumption. But even light alcohol consumption, your liver must not only mop up the alcohol, but must convert it. And it does it in turning it to, first, in a very toxic formula. And that word is so long and difficult to pronounce, I don't even want to say it. And then if your liver is healthy enough, it will convert that very toxic product into acetate. Ethanol is a sugar that is fit for human consumption, but it creates damage to the body. So the bioeffect from the gut crosses over into the brain. Why is that? Very often we talk about the brain barrier, because the molecules have to be so small, or this or that cannot get into the brain because of the brain barrier. But alcohol is water soluble and fat soluble. Therefore, it crosses into the brain no matter what. Most people who drink actually, you feel it, because what you experience happens in your brain. And most people like to drink because that feeling of maybe being a little tipsy is quite pleasurable. And when it wears off, your brain gives you the signal that you want more alcohol to get that good feeling back. But what alcohol does in the brain to create that feeling of maybe escaping stress, it actually numbs and suppresses the area of your neocortex. That area of your neocortex that is responsible for decision making and many constructive activities. Also for your speech, because you have probably heard when somebody has too much alcohol, what is too much? For somebody, 1 or 2 drinks are too much. And their speech changes long before it becomes slurry. That's why you see people who had a few drinks tend to get more uninhibited or more impulsive. It has been shown that this impulsive behavior increases temporarily while they drink, and then even becomes more permanent even outside that actual drinking time. What happens is that alcohol changes the neural circuits in your brain that control behavior. While studies also found that 3 to 6 months of total abstinence from alcohol can restore those neural circuits. Thank God for that. But is that guaranteed? No, can. And also it depends on for how long have you been drinking. When your memory seems to fail you, it may be your past alcohol consumption that affected your memory storage, because it does. Some people get tired easily after a drink or two. I call them the lucky ones, while others become more and more animated and energetic. Whew. How does that happen? The difference actually lies in their DNA, a change in their DNA. I would say be rather happy if you feel that alcohol affects you negatively, or more easily that you don't like to drink a lot. Why? Because you have a natural protection from becoming an alcoholic. Some people say that eating food will lessen the effects of alcohol. But that's really only partially true. But when food is eaten before or during you drink alcohol, it slows down the absorption of alcohol. But even that, it only does when all 3 food groups are present. That is carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. And as I say, it only slows the absorption. It does not negate it. So why do we get that nice, happy, yummy feeling when we have an alcoholic drink? If we desire one, the one of choice. But sometimes people say, I need a drink when they're really stressed, because it can have that effect too, to just numb you. And others say, I just like the feeling to be uplifted and feel celebratory. Why is celebration and parties so connected to alcohol? Because alcohol releases and raises serotonin in the brain. That's why some people, you know what serotonin is, right? The happy hormone. That's why some people can stop drinking, because they love feeling that happy feeling, that feeling good, that high that serotonin delivers. You can get that high, you probably know about the runner's high, right? Just by running. So rather than drinking, maybe you run, you have a good jog. So, but heavy drinkers' threshold is much higher. But eventually they become alcoholics and have such memory lapses that they have no recollection of what happened when they are drunk. Alcohol changes the relationship and balance between the hypothalamus, the pituitary, and your adrenals that sit right above your kidneys. The adrenals become on constant alert and put out more cortisol, even when you do not drink. The adrenals release more cortisol, and that is what makes you feel more stressed, even during non-drinking times, or especially during non-drinking times, because temporarily, the drinking can lower that, but then the crash comes. Because there are also long-term changes in the brain's neuroplasticity. You know that your brain is plastic, right? It can do amazing things. It can learn amazing things. So when this cortisol is released, the results is a lower mood and a higher stress, right? So we spoke about the gut-liver-brain axis in a way. The fact is that there is no evidence that occasional drinking has no negative effect on the brain and the body. That was a little bit of news to me, because I always thought there are differences in what kind of alcohol you drink, and there are differences, of course, how much you drink, and how much you drink makes still a difference. But even 1 or 2 glasses or 7 glasses a week is damaging. That I did not know. So in the recap, in the gut, alcohol kills even the necessary and the good bacteria, the good flora, the good gut biome. And it increases inflammatory cytokines, which travel throughout the body then and give you this inflammation. And inflammation is always the first stage of a disease later on. When alcohol enters the liver, because the liver needs to break it down into acetate, the liver signals the brain to get ready. And we already discussed what happens in the brain, right? This has really disturbed me, the research that I have done for the last couple of weeks. And of course, immediately, I have cut down on my alcohol. I definitely have less than 7 glasses of wine a week now. Maybe I cut it out altogether. I know it is hard because there are those, when nothing special happens, it's kind of easy maybe, to say, okay, 0 alcohol. What if you're invited to a wedding? What if you're invited to a big celebration? And I know those who have quit alcohol, like cold turkey, say there are so many other drinks that are available. And I believe it is just retraining your brain so that the connection of having a glass of champagne and celebration, cut that cord, cut that connection. It's not easy, no. It needs, like everything that you want to change in your life, it needs the awareness first, the truth, that then stimulates you to ask yourself a couple of very important questions. And then you have a choice. Then you have to make a decision. What do you want to do with the truth? What do you want to do with that knowledge? Because now you know. You see, when I was pregnant and I reduced my drinking a lot, but I still had the occasional glass of wine. And as I said, even my, everybody who I thought should know better didn't tell me or did not believe themselves that there was any harm in it, having a glass of wine now and then. While the fetus, while a new life develops within your womb. And of course, everything that you put in your mouth travels through the placenta. So how could alcohol not affect the unborn child? Oh yes, I was very, very careful to eat only the best food. Nothing artificial, nothing high nutritious and whatever. But then I had a glass of red or white wine. That wasn't good, but I didn't know then. So let me close by letting you know that research and science have confirmed that only 10 grams of alcohol per day, that's about a glass of wine, that those 10 grams increase the chance of cancer by up to 14%. And I think they did a study, and I don't want to misquote something here. It especially increases the chance for breast cancer. But I have not been very deep in that study. But what I read by just going through it, that's what it seemed to do. How does it do that? By changing the gene expression and creating gene mutations. That's how cancer is formed. And we know that, your immune system is created in your gut. And when alcohol kills the good bacteria in your gut and then burdens your liver and has that effect on your brain, isn't that a clear verdict? How damaging alcohol is? So my question for you is, what are you going to do with this information? I know what I'm going to do with the intensive studies that I've done in the 3 months, not only relating to memory loss, dementia, Alzheimer's, but also alcohol on the brain and throughout the body, immune system. There is so much that we casually do and are not aware of how harmful it is. Sometimes I believe if our body would not be as forgiving as it is, because it is forgiving up to a certain point where then, it just says, that's it, enough is enough. And then you notice that you have this disease. I say, how is this possible? There are many aspects to it, of course. There are so many aspects, and we go through other aspects. But I thought, especially after the holidays now, where alcohol consumption rises, and then, in February, there's the 14th, everybody feels they need to celebrate love, Valentine's Day. And that's not only chocolates, which is sugar, which is also not very good for your body, but there's also champagne and a lot of alcohol involved. So if I could just ask you to maybe not have a second drink as a first step, that would already be wonderful. All right, this is it for me today. Until I see you again next week, please take care of your brain, take care of your body. But thank you for being here and keep on listening to me, keep on being with me and taking just the slightest inspiration and epiphany and change something in your life for the better. Yes? Yes. Bye-bye for now. I love you. And you should love yourself too and honor that body temple that you have. Okay, bye-bye.